It's the thing about this, it's give an inch, take a mile. That's the problem, and if you don't obey the 4 rules, it doesn't happen.
What are those rules?
High potassium, low sodium, restricted protein, low fat. So it won't work. If you do those 4 things, even with the diets that I've given you, you're going to get changes starting to happen. And for those of you who think, well, I nearly eat this way, in any case, nearly isn't eating that way. Yes, so you're removing all the burden. That's what you're doing. So you want all plus foods, no minus foods. So that's no refined foods. Foods that give more than they take. If you don't take a lot of yogurt and you're vegetarian, you need to be careful about the protein quality.
Kathryn, would you have to have warm milk? Because
You can't have anything straight out of the fridge.
yeah,
And you can't drink milk anyway. There's no milk on the programme, only yogurt. Oh, good grief.
I was just thinking,
You see, you choose something like the Bircher muesli, which is soaked in yogurt and water, as opposed to the granola. The granola is high temperature in the oven, so it's really, if you're doing a detoxification, that would come under the damaged foods.
Fruits, because that's a very intense sugar hit, and that we're trying to keep our blood sugar even and not spike it.
No. Well, that's a different thing. That's situation only arises with insulin problems, if somebody's got insulin resistance. But generally the dried foods are they build the yin, they have iron in them, so we wouldn't snack on them.
No.
So you could have a portion with your breakfast as long as it's reconstituted.
So put it in a slice.
Yes.
Or
Yeah, so it would be not dried, reconstituted, and it's very building of the yin. Yeah. But if patients have diabetes, for example, then you wouldn't be eating those foods. And the same if they had diabetes, I wouldn't put all the apple in the juices. I would put half. The juice would be 125 grams of apple, 125 grams of celery, 250 grams of vegetable. So instead of having 250 grams of apple to 250 grams of vegetable, I would halve the apple.
and replace it with celery.
Celery, yes, that's for the diabetic picture. Well, we always do combine it, and if it's usually a digestive impairment, the reason that people get the bloating and the flatulence is because the digestive system's not working. So by just removing the mixed fruit and vegetable isn't going to repair the digestive system. Well, you produce the same, you produce all the digestive juices at once that will digest carbohydrates, fats and proteins. All right, so what I'm saying is if there's a fermentation happening in the digestion, it's because it's not vigorous. It's not the fault of the food, it's the digestive system which needs to be repaired. And that's what we work at doing. I think it will knit together, and then if any of you wanted to do the modules where you can study it in more depth, but at the end of the day, you know what to do now with your diet. You know how to do the diet, you know how to do the juicing, you know when to do the enemas. So you've got everything, I hope, that you thought you'd get from this weekend. Workbook, it won't be like that one, it'll be more along the lines of this one that you looked at yesterday, the practitioner one. So, and you'll get a little PowerPoint presentation, and you'll also have access to me. So if anybody really wants to really study this, so that you become just more than doing it for your own case, then that would be the thing to do as a follow-up. But certainly this weekend is just to familiarise yourself so you've got a basic understanding of your case, of the digestive efficiency, the detoxification capacity, and how you build a dietary prescription that isn't going to aggravate your case, and it's going to start the cleansing process. And that's what you will come away with at the end of today. It will have all come together, but you're not going to retain that. You're going to have to go back over your workbooks. So everybody's in agreement that we should go over a little bit of what we did yesterday. Can we have some questions so that I know which bits to go over? What is your... Do we have anybody with a main confusion? So nobody's confused over anything. It's false energy. What's it from? It's the body burning itself to produce, and it takes a while for the hormones to really kick in, the adrenaline. So the buzz you're getting is from, it's not because you're suddenly being nourished and have good solid energy. It's because all the hormones have kicked in to break everything down to release that. It's like having a cup of coffee and feeling good. You know, you say before we know what coffee does, right? And it's at the end of the 1800s, and you go to the doctor. You say, oh, I'm feeling really tired and lethargic. And they say, oh, this is wonderful import that we've just got in. It'll make you feel better. You just drink 10 cups of this a day. All right, so basically when you go on a fast, you're putting the body into a stimulant situation. It has to kick in order to keep you alive, which means breaking all your body tissues down, converting that to fatty acids, so you go into a ketosis, and into glucose to supply the nerves and the brain with energy, otherwise you'd die. That's why people feel good.
So the first 6 days are not related to a detoxification?
They could be, but it's not going to be, you'd have to, it can be, yes, you can get because you get the horrible taints in the mouth, the headache, that could also be due to low blood sugar. You have to remember that when you fast, the metabolism gets pushed down, it goes slow. All right, so it stops everything from happening. So it's going to stop the cells from releasing toxins, and it stops the liver from releasing toxins. Because you need a lot of energy to release toxins. That's why Dr. Gerson says for very sick patients, they have a piece of fruit before they do their first enema in the morning. And certainly, like when they do the castor oil treatment, which we'll talk about, the patient has sugar in their black coffee. All right, so you drink the black coffee with the sugar in it. That gives the liver the energy that it's going to need, but it also enables you to keep the castor oil in the stomach to make it flush through quickly. So we'll come to that.
Thank you very much.
All right, so does that help? So this, when you look at any program, you're going to be looking at how is this actually going to detoxify me? Is it going to replenish me? What are the symptoms that I'm getting? Are they truly detoxification symptoms, or is it just that the body has pushed the metabolism down and nothing's working properly? Because you can get a headache just through withdrawal. It doesn't, or low blood sugar. It doesn't have to be, a detox reaction.
If you'd like more information on Kathryn Alexander's Dietary Healing program, as well as her detoxification methods, or information on Dr. Max Gerson, go to kathryналexander.com.au. Kathryn has a range of free articles, publications, her book Dietary Healing, as well as some videos and lots of information to download.